Hey everybody, it's Chris from City of Treason, once again coming to you from the underground. Wanted to talk a little bit more about how all this came together, since we are dropping lots of nuggets, but we really haven't talked about how we were able to pull this off and do this new record. This music, as I said in one of the other videos, originated over 20 years ago with my old band Divided Mind. Mark and I wrote most of it, but really it was a collective effort bringing together the talents of Scotty and Tony. We started with a record over 20 years ago at a studio in Miami called The Dungeon. We were not able to finish that record. I got a tape with the master tracks on it that essentially over the next close to 20 years would be lost to time. And as I said in another video, after Mark passed, I found that tape. I was able to retrieve the files off of there, not knowing what was on there at the time, and then begin the process of revitalizing, reanimating, if you will, the material off that tape. And what it was 11 songs, and we added a 12th in various states of completion. We decided to redo all the guitars, so all the guitars are completely new, clean, and recorded at today's standard with a lot better equipment than we had available to us at the time. The drums were fixed by using sound replacement to again bring it to a modern standard, because really frankly when I listened to the original drum tracks, they sounded like ass. Scotty's bass sounded great. He had to, I think, do one track, and a lot of the original vocals by Mark were there. And suffice it to say, when I heard his voice on those recordings, it was quite a moving experience. I was really uplifted that they were in a condition that they could be used today in a modern recording. And so what we did was we chopped them up into 6 songs. We've only finished 6. There are 6 more waiting to be done. But what we did was we brought Nick in, and we brought Tony in to do drums again on one song that hadn't been finished, at least from the drum perspective. Nick came in and sang where Mark wasn't, where he was missing from 2 songs, and also to do sort of a duet, if you will, with Mark on the other 4 songs that we're releasing. So it really is a dream come true for me, in that 2 of my favorite guys in the world, Nick and Mark, are singing together on this record. It's really remarkable. In many cases, Nick is singing backup to Mark. And that's what you'll hear in these songs. You're going to hear Mark singing, and in most cases, and then you'll hear Nick backing him up, and they'll trade. They go back and forth, and it's really, really awesome. And a lot of kudos goes to Jay Sedawie, the engineer who worked on this tirelessly to get this shit right. And props, obviously, to all the guys in the band that helped pull this together, starting with Nick, who came down from North Carolina, where he lives now, to record all his vocals. He stayed down here in South Florida for several months, I think 3 to 4 months, to get all of the main lines down and the backups. Props to Tony for doing his drum parts that needed to be redone remotely in Indianapolis, and then sending them down to us, as well as coming down to help produce the songs in studio when Nick was here. Can't forget about Scotty and all his contributions, because Scotty, with his new studio, was able to put up the studio time and a facility to allow us to finish this record. I did a lot of the guitar parts at home with my home setup, and I was very happy with how those tracks came out. Certainly special shout out has to go to Big Lou, my dad, who helped produce one of the songs with us, and also Christian Ibarra, who came out and lent his vocal talents to a couple songs. It really augmented some of the more aggressive parts of the songs. So thankful to have all these guys as contributors. And when it comes to the video content that'll be coming out, I have to give a special thanks to my brother from another mother, Nigel, who recorded so much of the video content that you're going to see. Not only is he my best friend, but he's been my right-hand man in this whole thing. I couldn't have done it without him. And then also BrandonEpling. Brandon came in as a cameraman and filmed a ton of stuff, just maybe 100 hours worth of documentary footage. Can't forget my boy Dean, who also came in and lent a hand. My family's been so supportive of us finishing this project, and there's lots more to come. So I'm going to torment them further, especially my wife. So, thanks to everybody for their contributions to this project. Thank you for listening to me blabber for roughly 6.5 minutes now. But I wanted to share what it took to bring this music to life, because it was no small undertaking. And for me, it's tremendously gratifying, because I had to have more patience than I've ever had in my life in order to do this, because I'm generally known as not the most patient guy in the world. So that is one area where I had to grow in order to pull this off. And I would say, being a father to a young girl probably helped train me to have the patience I needed to pull this thing together. So this is sort of the liner notes, I guess, is what this is turning out to be. Thank you for even watching this. Thank you for listening. Thank you for checking out the music, because I think it kicks ass. I think it's going to kick your ass. And there's a lot more to come from City of Treason. So welcome back to the underground.